Your brain is isolated. It is blind, it is deaf, and it is dumb. It cannot speak, it cannot see, it cannot hear. It cannot feel, it cannot sense. It depends upon external sensors to tell it everything.
I came from the Western scientific point of view, and for me an advantage of floating to the kind of person I was is that it opens us up to other realities, other universes, to realizing that there is more in the universe than just physical matter.
In the tank, you can't depend on the eyes. You're not hearing anything outside. You're right there just as a brain, basically, in a nervous system floating in a tank. Everything, anything that you experience within that tank is then a simulation that is visible to you.
I actually ran into some fear when I went in there the first time. It was different kind of a tank at that time. You had to climb up into it and then slip down. And while I was lying there, it felt as if there were mushroom clouds of fear, my own, were latched to my back and attaching itself to the bottom of the tank.
I was 24 and I was making a decision whether to move to New York City. And I know that I had a lot of doubt about it. I didn't know what to do. So Glenn would always say, ask the universe. I got into the tank and just floated. And so I was laying there. I was like, okay, universe, tell me what to do. The tank started to fill up with light, including me. And light started to come from within me and just move up into the whole tank. And then it's like the whole thing was hot and warm and radiant. And I was like, wow, this is like an amazing answer. I guess I need to do something. And, I need to keep moving. So I moved.
The float tank physically, the one that we use in Tranquility tanks, is a large fiberglass egg-shaped tank about 7.5 feet long and 5.5 feet wide. You got about 13 inches of water in the bottom of the tank, and that's saturated with over 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts, which gives it a salt density and a buoyancy twice that of the Dead Sea. So when a person lies down on their back, they will float absolutely without any effort whatsoever. So when a person goes into the tank, the nervous system says, what kind of experience is this? And it goes through all its memories, but there's nothing there. The closest that it comes to is being back in the womb state. but in fact it's actually calmer and quieter than being in the womb, because there's not all the movement and the sound of the mother's body and her voice and her breath. And so at that point, from the nervous system point of view, it's like you're right off the planet.
One kind of person will get in a tank and just use it for relaxation, just to rest, just to get the body regenerated. Another individual is interested in much more than that. Their interest goes much further than merely relaxing. They want to explore the self, they want to explore the deep self, the deepest meta self, and possibly go on right out the door throughout the universe and maybe even past the universe.
For me, the thing that is unique about flotation tanks is that they're empty. You can go into the void when you float, and there's no other tool that I know of that consists of nothing. The float tank basically, as John used to say, stop avoiding the void, get nothing from samadhi.
The reason that he was calling it a samadhi tank was because it was possible to come close to some of the aspects of the meditative state where the meditator becomes one with the object of meditation, which is that expansive, undifferentiated, open state. When you're floating in the tank, it's as if your body doesn't exist any longer. You don't feel it. It melts away in a way of speaking that is hard to describe. But you still are there. You're watching that, you're thinking about it, or you're looking at it. Other thoughts are coming. There are feelings that are going on. So even though you don't have a body, matter, you still exist. And that is a kind of a new perception for people, which leads to other ways of looking at what is spiritual.
Are these objective worlds or subjective worlds to be explored through the deep self? I say through the deep self because the deep self is not another world. The deep self is you. But what you can find are both objective and subjective worlds. There'll be worlds which are created by the subconscious, by the metaconscious, but there are actually other worlds, other dimensions, which can be reached. I don't want to go too far out, but I will tell you that the way that a UFO works is through interdimension rather than through space. You can't survive in deep space, really deep space, for very long, but through the use of interdimensional interstices, slippages, you can actually go from one galaxy to another. Yes, they're real.
Is floating some kind of space training? Can it be? Future training?
I envision this as a space training, and I would tell you that the UFO technology is here already, and that there are experimentations with UFO technology, and that interdimensional travel has been experimented with and achieved on Earth or from Earth already several times since the 1940s. Well, you know, when you start exploring your inner self, you run into an awful lot of other things besides that. It's not just the inner self you're exploring. First of all, you're not alone on this planet.
This woman came to use the tank, and she was in her 5th month of pregnancy, and she said, you know, I told you that I went in to meet my baby, and I expected that I, being the mother, would meet this small creature. But what happened is that this being came and said, Mom, I came to meet you.
There's a lot to be learned, and it's not all within the self. A lot of it is external. A lot of it has to do with other people. A lot of it has to do with the planet. There's a planet to be responsible toward. Sure, you're out there exploring the universe, but there's also a dying planet under your feet. And you're part of the human trip. You can't separate your life from your exploration of consciousness.